Hi everyone, this is a video about the Tjökar Clay Festival where I was giving a lecture last week, and there was 1 week symposium at Tjökar Island, which is in Åland between Finland and Sweden, and there was a lot of clay enthusiasts. They digging the local clay, and they have redware clay there or wild clay, and they did experimentals with this clay, and then we came there to give some lectures, and I gave a lecture about how I end up using the Finnish wild clay and native clay, because I used to do products with stoneware clay and slip casting, but then I choose to start using just the local clay. And it was really exciting to me because there were two more lectures at the same day when I was there. One of them was by my teacher Heikki, who was the teacher of mine for 3 years, and Kuopio School of Craftsmanship and Design. I don't know what's the proper English name for my school, but he was my teacher for 3 years anyhow. Everyone involved with professional ceramics in Finland know this book. It's called Ceramic Materials, and Heikki wrote it 30 years ago, and there's a new version of it out now. So if you're interested to get the most inclusive book about ceramic materials in Finnish, I put the link below. And the other person who gave a lecture same day was Peter Winkvist, who was teacher for 2 years for me in Lapland. I went to Posio School of Ceramics. If you live in Finland and don't know Peter Winkvist, you have probably used his products, because he used to work as a designer in Arabia factory, and later on in Posio in Pentik, he's the man behind the iconic Hiisi, Riekko and Halla services that are collectibles right now. Later on, he started Posio School of Ceramics, where I studied, and then moved to Åland, where he's been for last, I think, 20-30 years. It was exciting to give a lecture between your teachers, and I haven't seen them for 30 years. So it was over 30 years, so it was very interesting connection. The whole lifetime had gone past. I met Heikki in Turku, and we took the ferry over to Nauru.
Koululaisena vanhemmat muutti noita lyhytvideoita ja se on Lake Superiorin rannalla se. Alussa kun mulla tuli vähän nokkapokkaa ton Eijan kanssa siitä, että
And stayed in bed and breakfast called Nestor there, which was really nice and beautiful place. And we took a long walk in the evening and talked about everything that has happened for the last 30 years. And it was nice to get a different kind of relationship with Heikki, because he had always been a teacher. I guess when I was studying, I was a little bit scared of teachers, or I couldn't be natural with teachers. I think I had an issue with teachers. Anyways, it was so nice to talk and hear about his life also, and he had been working in America for many years and all around. After a good and sturdy breakfast at Nestor's, we took to the ferry, 2.5 hours to Tjökari. And we came late for the festival because almost everybody else had been there for a week, digging the clay and done all kinds of experiments with it. Unfortunately, because we came late, we missed 2 important lectures. Katariina Kajander's 60 years experience with local clay, and Mia Kallio's 20 years experience with her artworks with local clay. I hope to correct that by making videos about them to this channel. Heikki gave his lecture about materials and about how we have all this clay in Finland, and And in the afternoon, the other lecture was by Peter Winkvist. I really enjoyed his lecture too. He had a really good anecdote on cat and dog. Like cat is the ceramic artist and how dog is the designer. So when people ask Peter what's the difference between artist and a designer, he usually says like cats and dogs. The artist is self-sufficient and doesn't care what others think. They do what they want. The designer exists for the others and sees it as their task is to create good, beautiful and functional objects for us who use them. And the whole festival was organized by Mari Paikkari and Johanna from Tjörkar Kultur Association, and it was totally fantastic. We had really good food.
Kaikki samaa. Niin, tuonne on kaikkia yksi.
At the Tjörkar Museum, it was nice to see the local house marks. This is the tradition where my signature comes from too. I used to use my great-great-great-grandfather's mark, but now I use my own, this one. And it was nice to see all the experimentals the attendees of the symposium had done. And they have done some fantastic job, and it was interesting to see how different the clay in Tjörkar is than the clay that I use that comes from Kultela. This clay, the color is totally different. It was much darker. It was almost blue, kind of a blue color, and we were thinking maybe it's because there's a lot of sulfur there, and when they fire it, there's a lot of white, kind of a mist came over the clay when they fire it in bisqueware firing. And Mari was telling that she had done some raku firing with her father, Pekka, and in that kind of firing it turned totally black. So we will continue the research. Heikki took some clay, he's going to take it to the university, technical university in Tampere, and maybe they can do and analyze this clay, because it was very interesting. I think it would be a great material for artists to use. Joo.
Niin onko toi nyt, että se on sitten niinku korkeammalla? Se lämpötila.
Ei tää kauhean korkea. Tässä näkyy tässä sävestä. Tää on niinku tossa liekki poltettu.
Yksi makea, yksi hapan, koska on kontrasti.
Sitten vielä seuraava klikling. Sen vill vi också tacka dig. Så ihana juori.
Ja tästä se lähtee, koska nyt kaikki mitä me ollaan nyt puhuttu, että ruvetaan tekemään.
Todella jännittävä arvotus tää sali.
Joo. Ja toisaalta kyllähän mä myös toivoin tätä, että täällä on keraanikot yhdessä. Niin kuin mä äsken sanoin, että me ollaan paljon enemmän ryhmänä kuin yksilöinä, vaikka kaikki olisi taitavia.
We stayed at the Åland Archipelago guest artist residency in Tjörkari, and I will put link to it and a link to everything else in the description. So if I miss any links, so please add them in the comments. And it was really nice place. One of my favorite places in the world is Assisi in Italy. and I'm a fan of St. Francis from Assisi. And in Tjörkar Island there had been a cluster, a monastery, a little tiny monastery of St. Francis' followers.
Yeah.
I felt that it was a special place for me because I always wear the St. Francis cross with me because Assisi had helped me find the home with that, and it had been very important to me.
Eckerö kyrka hade byggts så var det 300 år förrän Columbus gav sig iväg.
Raunioyrtit. Te katsot tälleen näin vaan Kaukaasia raunioyrtit.
Mulla on tää puutarha.
Niin, nyt se kysyy ja nyt se on tullut.
We got so mesmerized by the beautiful Tjörkar church and the St. Francis monastery that we almost missed our ferry. But luckily everyone made it to the ferry, even Katja, who came with the bicycle and was biking against the wind. But luckily we all made it. Toi on niinku devotion.
On sen kyllä semmonen vähän niinku maku.
No näyttää hienolta noin halkeamassa. Siinä on toi katto.
Alatte ymmärtää kintsukin, koska kaikki tuosta rikkonaisuudet on, niissä on se jotenkin se...
Joo. Ihminen ei ainakaan, me ei makseta mitään, mutta...
It took 3 ferries, countless bridges and a train to get back to Helsinki. And thank you for all the attendees and Marie and Johanna to organizing this wonderful experience. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.